Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through fears and live an awesome life. Well, I've got an interesting subject today, and I've actually spoke about this in other videos, but I haven't really discussed it recently. And one of my subscribers, beautiful woman, reached out and said, can you talk about this? Because she's experiencing the transition. The transition. What's the transition? Okay, if you are following the whole, discussions about the new earth and what that is, a couple of people that you might want to learn a little bit more about one is Dolores Cannon. She really takes it out there. Now, Dolores passed away a couple of years, which is a real bummer. I'm actually a certified quantum hypnosis healing technique hypnotist. I got certified in that, and that's Dolores Cannon's training. It's not this, you go into a deep sleep and you don't remember anything. It's taking people originally meant to take them into past lives, but now the purpose for it primarily is to take them into their higher self. Well, the quantum field, the all-knowing, all-powerful that is you, that you have access to all the time, but the ego gets in the way. They're now connecting more and more to that and doing less of the past life regression. Why? Well, even though the client will take the hypnotist into a past life, sometimes to work through some of the issues that have been brought forward or reasons why they behave a certain way or why they're with certain people, which is helpful for them in this life. Dolores herself said, it's time for us to release all of that. What we did in a past life really isn't all that important because we really do now have the power to rectify everything, including karma. What does that mean? I have a video on karma. There's no karma anymore. There doesn't have to be. Karma is whatever you're just working out and learning. That's all it is. There's no punishment from a lifetime. Sometimes we bring imprints, energy imprints forward with us. Sometimes we didn't learn something in a past lifetime, and we will continue to work through that. But it's not karma in the sense that we used to name it, and that's, oh, you must be bad in your lifetime, so you're going to, some bad things are going to befall you in this one. It doesn't work that way. There is no punishment. So it's just learning, and you continue to learn. So if you have some issues this time, it's time for you to break through those. You don't have to keep suffering anymore. The karma is that you can release anything that you've done in the past and be the better, brighter person that connects to that quantum field and get all your answers. So what is the transition? Dolores talks about this. Many spiritual leaders talk about this. The transition is now us really connecting to that higher self. We don't use most of our DNA, what's in our DNA, and they don't know what it is. They call it junk DNA. That's ridiculous. There's no such thing as junk. Everything has a purpose. What is it? Why do we have a brain that we only use a small percentage of? Why would that be there? Okay, really? It makes absolutely no sense when you think of Darwin, right? Evolution. Something's there that we've never used. It's because we're going to get ready to start using it. In fact, scientists believe that DNA is now firing up in areas it never did before. That is when we start to access things that they're just unexplainable, abilities that are unexplainable, accessing, future knowledge, and also having the ability to change all of that. Now, so I'm getting out there a little bit, but my bottom line here is all of this is so much greater than what we've been thinking we are. And we have that ability and all of these things that this physical body has been ready to go into. The bigger brain, the capacities there, the capacity in the DNA, mystical abilities that we don't understand. Things are starting to happen to us. What is that? It's called the transition to the new earth. It's a higher dimension. We're going from the third into the fourth, into the fifth. In fact, we're already there. Some of you may be there, some may not. And the ones who are going there are feeling actual physical conditions. Because in order to connect to that other world, there are things that have to happen with this dense body to open up gateways. And the DNA change is one of them. Now, okay, so what are the symptoms? I'm not going to go into what that all is because I sure am not the expert on it and I haven't met one yet. All we know is our frequency is raising. The human race is absolutely making progress. That's good news, right? I think that we have skipped past potential wars because we raised our vibration. I think there are so many catastrophes that haven't happened because we're raising our vibration. That's the choice we have. That's the karma piece of learning. That's the, I'm done with the mistakes, I'm going to raise my frequency. That's the choice we have to raise the vibration. And the rest is quantum physics and the quantum consciousness that's working with us to do that. So you don't have to go into the 4th and 5th level. You could stay down there in the 3rd, the density. That's where the choice and the beauty of coming here and the journey is. You get a chance to decide if you're going to go up to that or not. Those of us, because I'm choosing to go up, are going to the higher frequencies, will not be in a world with war, of illness, of poverty, of suffering. We're just not going to experience that anymore. We're going to keep going up until basically this is the perfect world it was meant to be. There will be other people who stay in their density and they're going to stay in that reality. Now this is very crazy because you're going, wait a minute, are we all going to be on the same earth? No, we aren't actually. My reality is going to be different than yours. All right, so again, I'm not going to go into that, but I wanted to just sort of let you know that this is how big it is out there, that this is also science. And by the way, Dolores can work with the government and UFO experts, hypnotizing people so that they could recall some experiences with alien life entities. So she's been taken very seriously. There's actually a university that's been launched, an education system place that's been launched using her techniques. All these people are serious stuff. This is all serious stuff. All right, so symptoms of the transition. So you have choice. You're done with karma. You're learning your lessons. You're raising your frequency. You are now going into the 4th dimension, maybe into the 5th. You're still in a human body. What does that mean? Your body's going to have to adjust to it. The DNA is firing off. The brain, you may start using places in your brain that you never did. Joe Dispenza has shown that people go into meditation, start firing up places in their brain that are super powerful, that go into euphoria. Those pieces of your brain will start to be in use more and more. Then you may connect to the quantum field. You may know things. You may start to pay attention to signs and things that intuition, we call intuition, which is an ability everybody has, is to just know things. You're going to start sensing that you have more abilities. The body is going to start transition because the higher frequencies of the planet, of the unseen world, is now going to give you downloads. Have you experienced downloads? All right, so I've been experiencing downloads for, I'd say about 6 years. Yeah, about 6 years. And when it first started happening, I didn't know what it was, but in the middle of the night, I would feel like electricity. My whole body was electricity, not in a painful way, but it was unlike anything I've ever felt. It was definitely not me working out and having some kind of ache or pain or anything like that. In fact, there was no pain at all. But it was as if somebody was shooting electricity from my body, and it would come in waves, and this started to happen frequently. So it was always when I was out of the way, the ego's out of the way, and I was connecting to the other world, the unseen world, of which, is all powerful, was downloading me, changing things in my body, and I can't tell you what that is because I don't know, but I know that my frequency was raising. I know that my body was being prepared in a way that would allow me to go into another dimension. We don't know the mechanics or the science behind that, but changes have to be made because these bodies and this way of thinking of density can't go into a higher dimension. So, you don't have to understand how it's all working or why or who's doing it or what. We're all one thing, so there's no separate entity doing something to you without your permission. You're actually calling upon it. You're taking the next step to raising your frequency. I don't want you to be afraid of this. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm having some negative stuff going on, and I've heard this before. Like I've had no negative symptoms at all. Change in diet's a huge one. A lot of people going vegetarian. It sort of makes them sick to eat meat. They're just picking because they're connecting to energy now. They're connected energy. So if you're connected to energy, you're eating somebody else's flesh. And so that might be coming in a negative format, because what we do to animals is not very nice. And so you're probably picking up on that energy, and it's just not feeling right. It's not coinciding with your energy. You may even feel like you have to eat organic because you're much more sensitive to the chemicals and things. So start cleaning up your diet. Yeah. Spend more money on the organic. I'm sorry. This is your body. Of course you need to do that. Get rid of the junk food and all the garbage that's really blocking you from connecting to the other side. It really is. You have to have a clean body. I'm not saying you have to be perfect, but I'm just telling you, you can start to make some improvements. All right, so that's number one. Clean up your diet. Your sleep patterns might be really bizarre. You actually really don't need to sleep the way we used to. The best way, Edgar Casey said, was to sleep a few hours at night and then get up and then basically take a 1 or 2 hour nap during the day. They said that's actually the best possible. Europeans do that anyways. I mean, you know what? We're the ones that, we're asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and, dragging. And they're the whole theory is that's when you need to just go take a nap and refresh and get back up and not sleep these long hours. So go with it. We get this thing in our head, oh, I have to go to bed at, this time, and I get up here and I have 8 hours in there. No, go with what your body tells you to do. And if you can, I know a lot of you can't just, sleep on the job, but if you can, work with now what your body wants and throw the rules out the window. Okay, I've heard about the ringing in the ear. That's supposedly a frequency issue. You can actually request that to stop. Go into meditation and request it to stop. And I've heard that many people have had success with this, that they can actually, they're putting this message out to the universe that this needs to be toned down. Turn it down. So that has to do with you connecting to a frequency. Some people have had heart palpitations and stuff. Mine all went away when I quit investment banking. So I had heart palpitations and I thought something was wrong with my heart. Did a stress test. Nope, it's called stress. I don't have any of that anymore. In fact, I had a heart murmur and that's gone too. All of it's gone. That's how powerful what you're doing for a living, how you're living, is on your body. It's time to start making adjustments. This is why I'm always promoting my internet marketing. I'm telling you there are other ways, whether it's that or something else, there are other ways to get away from the traditional ways of doing business and living. And you need to start exploring, expand your mind. Our world is changing like it's crazy. We are going into the new earth. So your DNA is getting fired up. You're probably going to get downloads. Some of you actually are going to get depressed. All right, this is what happens when a lot of people that go into an awakened state can get depressed because they're just not connecting to this real world. So you're in this euphoric, beautiful state, and the depression doesn't go with that, right? But it never happened to me. I was totally euphoric, and I've been, I go into this happy, happy state. And if I ever get a little bit down at all, it's just because I'm just tough on myself. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm always pushing myself. But a lot of people are saying they get depressed because they're not connecting to this earth anymore, and they don't want to be here. They don't want to be here. So just remember, you have a mission. If you're feeling that way, just buck up and say, all right, I'm not going to be here that long. What am I going to do with this time? I got a mission. I got to raise my frequency. I got to put a smile on my face and go out there and make a difference on this world. Otherwise, you get all depressed. You're like, yeah, all right, I'm awakened. Woo. I can't connect to anybody else because, there's a bunch of violent people out there. And then you die and you go, well, wait a minute. What did I do with all that? I was supposed to be helping the frequency on the planet. Instead, I'm just waiting to get off of it. And then you might have to come back down again because you didn't, do what you were supposed to. So make your time useful. All these changes you're going through. I can't say if it's for sure the transition with you. Only you know how drastic that is. If you really feel like you're a new person, something else is going on, that's probably what's going on. If you're still having these negative thoughts and all this stuff, that's probably not what's going on. So, if you feel like you're on a spiritual path, you're raising your frequency, you're experiencing some things, just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it, because this may or may not be your physical body adjusting to a higher frequency, a higher dimension. Now, the other thing too is when people open themselves up to the lower frequencies, they're going to connect to lower frequencies. There's no such thing as Satan. Seriously, we're creating it. So if you're going to be on a lower frequency and you go, oh my God, now I'm connecting all this stuff, that's not awakening. I don't know what it is. It's you fooling around with stuff you shouldn't be messing with. I mean, yeah, there are other frequencies that are going to love to come in and talk to you or do whatever they do. But the higher frequencies, they don't bug you. They don't mess with you. They're like, when you're ready to come up here, we're here. But we're not going to be, they don't relate to you. It's like they could be in the room with you and, you can't see each other because you're on totally different dimensions of frequency. And I'm talking about the entities on the other side. Raise that frequency. If you are depressed, I'm not saying that you're not going into an awakened state. You're probably just disconnecting from what's going on out there because it's difficult. But you've got to battle through this. Not battle against it, but flow with it and say, okay, I have a higher mission. What am I going to do? And start to take action in your life to make some things happen. And when you get I actually love it when I get downloads. I love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been happening again recently, and it hasn't happened in like months. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening again. It's exciting for me because I know something's happening that's very positive. And it's changing me, my physical body, which means it's probably taking me up a notch because I know that I'm not doing negative things. At least I'm trying not to, right? So, a lot going on. We don't have all the answers. Some of it may seem unpleasant and doesn't make sense. I think you know if you're on a spiritual path and you're doing good things and you're feeling like you're raising your vibration, you know that those symptoms that you're having are just your body adjusting to that. All right, the human body actually at some point doesn't even connect to the higher frequency, and so we would be light beings. We are light. This is a fact. It's a fact that when our little, neurons and everything else is connected fire off, that it's light. They can actually see it and measure it. There's light going on inside our body. Our whole body is light. It's firing off light. All right, so at some point, that's all we're going to be because our frequency is going to be so high that this density that's moving so slow that keeps us down, we'll have no use for it. So that's what's happening. It's between that ultimate state of reconnecting back to the one, being on the dense planet, and us transitioning through to that. All right, I know it's like I'm going into all this other stuff, but my whole point to you is that there's so much going on now that is opening up our thinking, our gateways, our belief systems, and the more you can stay open to all of that, especially if you read Dolores Cannon, boy, you're going to have a major open mind for that stuff. Seriously, a really big open mind, because it's going to take you places that you're going to say this is just crazy. Why? Because we've been told that's crazy. Not because it can't exist. We've been told stuff is crazy. All these belief systems, blow them out, throw them out the window. Get rid of it. Get past it. Because you're unlimited. And this body has those capabilities to do things that it's not doing now. There's going to be a point when we can actually speak to each other and no words will be necessary. Some people can do that now. Why? Because there's that part of their brain or whatever in their body that's already in that place, in that space. The rest of us are trying to catch up. So don't be afraid of it. Some of it's going to be a little bit weird. You know, I started drinking tea. I'm not a tea drinker. I still have my coffee in the morning, but you know, you're just going to find things change. They're changing in a way that are not normal. Like you might say, okay, well, we go through phases. Yeah, we do, but you're going to notice some things that are much more drastic. Go with them. Go with them, except for the depression or anything else. Meditate. If you have heart palpitations or anything, meditate and just focus on it. Put light on it and ask for some help. Please remove the ringing in my ear. Please help me to clear out these heart palpitations if you have that or anything. And then if you want to really connect to the other side and, you know, maybe get some downloads before you go to bed, meditate sitting up, not laying down so you don't fall asleep, and ask to open up the gateways to, you know, the higher realms. Protect yourself with white light if you're afraid. It'll protect you. Ask to connect to your highest frequencies, those entities and angels and guardians that have your best interests in heart, and really focus on connecting to that and ask them to visit you and give you some guidance and answers. And if you keep doing that, you'll eventually start to have some very profound dreams, and they can help you. They can help you maybe understand things or transition during your sleep when you're actually connecting to the other side, because that ego's out of the way. So, a lot of information, but I just want you to understand we're at a pivotal, awesome point. You can be a part of it. Most of you are probably already in the fourth dimension. You're probably noticing a lot of different things going on that just are a little bit unexplainable. And that's very exciting. I love it when stuff like that happens. Like, oh my gosh, like, missing pieces of time and things like that. Let's not go into that yet. All right. You don't have to know everything. You just don't. Just keep on your path. Just keep on watching that ego, not believing what it says, keeping your mind open. Everything you do is for a higher purpose. Know that. Keep expanding yourself. Quit listening to the naysayers. Go after your dreams. Never stop. Persistence is key. You came here to live an awesome life. Drop the fear. It's time to drop the fear. It's made up. It doesn't exist except for in your chosen reality. And that's an individual choice. So you can choose to let it go. Join me in peace and love. Send it out to the world. Send your light and love out to this world. It's going to come back to you tenfold. Do that every day. We are going to start raising this global frequency, and thus the universe is affected by that too, of course. It's very exciting when I hear from you guys and I see how many people are really doing this. It's awesome. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're raising this Earth's frequency, and you're going up to the next dimensions in a world that's going to be so beautiful and will continue. You're going to start to see it happening around you now. You're probably already noticing how positive things are going. Despite all this stuff you see around governments and that, those are actually reinforcing us to raise our frequency, to pull together and say, no, we want our world to be like this. We're going to take charge. We're going to do schools that are positive. We're going to start doing some things over here. We don't need other people to tell us what to do anymore. There's nothing negative. There's nothing negative. Everything is a contribution toward our growth and raising our frequency. All right? Welcome to the new Earth, the new frequency, the higher frequencies, the fourth and fifth dimensions and beyond. I'm so glad to join you in that. Love, peace, prosperity, abundance, health, joy. Namaste.